Hello and welcome. My name is Steph, and in this episode, I'm going to be sharing my awakening story, as well as the clues that my soul has left me along the way. So, this is part two, and in part one, in the previous episode, I dive into a little quick guide of the process of spiritual awakening. My hope is that my awakening story helps you feel less alone and provides you with direction if you are feeling lost and confused. Everyone's awakening is going to look a little bit different. My awakening, the deeper, darker phases of it, have been full of emotional purging. So, my awakening is really coming from the standpoint of being someone who is a highly sensitive person, highly empathic person. And I didn't learn that about myself until I was 31 years old. So, up until I was 31, society and the people around me really made me to feel that there was something very wrong with me. And I had internalized these feelings. I didn't understand why I was so different, why were so many people so mean to me, and why had I encountered so many bad situations and feelings throughout my life? Why was I perceiving the world so differently from everyone else? And living through life like this, feeling almost ostracized by society or the people around me, plus taking on all of the emotions that I was taking on throughout my life and still am, filled me with a lot of emotional pain. And due to my sensitivity, that pain wasn't mine alone that I've been carrying. It's pain of those around me, those close to me, pain of the collective, generational pain in my lineage. So I've carried a lot of this emotional pain, and I've never had anyone to talk to about it that understands what I'm experiencing. So my awakening, a big part of it is purging so much pain, so much emotional pain. And along the way, long before I even knew what a spiritual awakening even was, my soul was dropping me little clues. And I'm going to share these clues with you so you can maybe look back on your own life and see what clues your soul has been leaving you. So I'm going to start with a vivid memory of I'm around 9 years old. I'm home alone in the house. My family was probably outside, but I am wondering who I am. I'm wondering why I'm here and feeling kind of confused. I recall going to the living room. My mom kept our school pictures in picture frames on side tables. And every year she would just add a new photo to the frame and keep the previous year's photos kind of stacked together. So I opened the frame, I laid all the photos out on the couch, and I just start analyzing them. I'm looking at them and I am not recognizing the person in these photos. I'm wondering who this person is. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm wondering who I am. I don't feel I belong here. I almost don't feel like I belong with this family, and I'm feeling pretty confused. So those thoughts did not consume my entire childhood, but that is a very vivid memory of mine. So carry on. I'm raised in a Christian Lutheran church, very active with the church, and I love reading Bible verses about love and angels and writing them down in a journal that I had. I had a phase where I loved angels. I had a beautiful picture hanging in my room of a cute little cherub with wings. I had some little angel trinkets. I was doodling angels and angel wings. And as I got older and started learning more about science in high school, I just started asking big questions. What I was learning in the church and with Christianity was not matching up with what I was learning in science class. And after I graduated high school and went off to college and started taking higher level science classes, it really wasn't matching up. So in my early 20s, I went into this agnostic phase where I felt betrayed and brainwashed by religion, Christianity, and the church. I started reading books like Life by Richard Forty. I wanted to know where I really came from, how I really came to be on this earth, how life and humanity came to be on this earth. And around this time, I also learned in science classes that that energy can never be created nor destroyed. So I knew that we don't just die and be gone forever. I knew that we have a soul that carries on, but I didn't really know anything about what happens after we leave. And all the while, as I'm doubting religion and learning more about science, I'm having these very synchronistic experiences that I couldn't explain with science. You know, the typical, I think about someone and then they text me and ask me to hang out. You know, thinking about someone and then having them text me happened constantly. And when I was 19 years old, for some reason, I thought I really needed a very large tattoo of a phoenix. And the best hiding place for it was on my inner leg. And when I look back, it's strange that I did get that tattoo because I'm really not a tough, big tattoo person. And when I got it and I was showing it off to people, I think they were also very shocked. They just did not picture me getting a large tattoo and of a phoenix. Like, why? And at the time, I was just very determined to have this phoenix tattoo. The symbolism of the phoenix really resonated with me, you know, the symbolism of change and rebirth and transformation, but I didn't fully know why it resonated with me. And to the point where when people would ask me why I got this tattoo, I felt uncomfortable. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't fully know why I so desperately needed this tattoo on my leg. Little did I know that 20 years later, I would be diving into the deep phases of a spiritual awakening and becoming a completely different person. And also in my early 20s, I started spending more time in nature, and things happened here too that made me feel there's a higher power working for me or with me. One memory I have, I went camping with someone and we drove to a distributed camping site that was very primitive, no bathrooms, just one camping site. If you can drive to it, you can stay there for free. When we parked the pickup and got out, we were immediately attacked by flies. I mean, I've been around a lot of flies. I grew up on a farm. I've been around animals and insects, but the intensity of the attack was nothing like I had experienced before up until that point. And then all of a sudden, these big blue dragonflies come in like fighter jets and they just start taking the flies away from my head. The person I was with at the time said, "Oh my gosh, look." And I said, "Yeah, I know, I can hear them." They said, "Just stand still." And so I just stood there, and in a matter of a couple minutes, they had eaten and scared all of the flies away. That might sound like maybe it happens to people all the time. I don't know. I grew up on a farm. Like I said, I've been around insects a lot. I had never experienced that. And just the experience left me feeling this deep sense of, wow, there is a higher power protecting me and helping me. And these experiences of feeling protected and guarded have carried on my whole life to this day. So fast forward to 2017, 2018, I'm dabbling in meditation and yoga purely for the purpose of helping me with my depression and my anxiety. Also in 2018, I stumbled across information about empaths that woke me up to realizing I am a highly sensitive person and a highly empathic person. And like I said, up until that point, I thought there was something very, very wrong with me. And just reading about highly sensitive people and highly empathic people brought me to tears because for the first time in my life, I knew there was nothing wrong with me and that there was actually something very right with me. And then in January of 2019, I'm getting back into yoga after a break from it over the holidays. And I'm just doing a guided series called 30 Days of Yoga with Jess Timsit. And in her series, she walks you through just the basics of yoga asana or yoga poses. And she was incorporating pranayama and also mantra or chanting. And this was a very simple yoga series. It was not advanced, it was really for beginners. And I was not striving towards awakening. I don't think I even knew what it was at that point. I really just wanted my anxiety to go away. So, in the later days of this 30 Days of Yoga series, in the yoga flow, we're instructed to chant the Om mantra. So I am going, Om. And then as I Om, I see a luminous neon blue symbol of what I now know is the astrological symbol for Earth. And it kind of comes in and fades out. And then immediately after, a neon glowing blue symbol of an angel comes in and fades out. And as it's happening, I am just shocked and filled with glee and giddy excitement. And oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. What is this? Why is this happening? I was so in shock and excitement over what happened. I didn't really grasp the message. I think it took me like a week to go back and say, okay, what did that mean? So eventually I looked up the symbol and found out it meant Earth Angel. So Spirit was reminding me of who I really am, an Earth Angel. Do you remember when I was young and I was loving angels and drawing them and collecting them and the dragonflies protecting me? So this luminous vision experience in 2019, I really would say would mark the inception of my awakening. Really dove into reading about yoga at this time. I'm an answers person. I needed to know why and how things happen. And as a science-minded person, this was very strange to me that I had this luminous vision. I needed to know why it happened and how it happened. And this experience really made me fall in love with yoga. I keep a really solid practice to this day, and I always will. So around 2018, 2019, when I'm getting into meditation and yoga and I have this experience, I'm feeling a lot of gratitude and love and maybe not joy, but I just felt like my heart was overflowing with love. And this was around the time that I would meet who would become my husband. And fast forward to January of 2025, we are married, and I wake up to the fact that he is a covert narcissist, a disordered one, and I wake up to all of his lies, and I initiate a divorce. And that really shook my world up because I really thought I was headed towards starting a family with this man and living on a farm. And I had clung to this vision of what I thought my life was moving towards. And then that fell apart, and that really started the dissolution phase of my awakening. I talk about this in another video, but I went into a deep stage of grief. I was also connecting more with my guides. They had been trying to alert me of my husband's behavior and dishonesty for over a year before I initiated the divorce. I'll probably film another episode on how my guides have shown up for me and communicated with me. But basically, they were using lamps to indicate to me that I needed to look at him. They were turning his bedside lamp on, indicating that I needed to take a look deeper at him. It didn't make sense to me when it first started happening, but as time went on, the truth was revealed. So about 6 months after I initiated the divorce, then my guides start poking and saying, okay, you agreed. It's time for you to leave your job now. And my ego mind is like, what? I had been wanting to leave my toxic job for a very long time. I didn't feel prepared to leave in the sense where I was going to be living off my savings while I start an entirely new endeavor. That was very terrifying to me. The scarcity mindset is ingrained in my DNA and goes back many generations, like many of us. When I objectively looked at my resources, I said, okay, I think I can do this. And I took the leap and quit my job. The night before I handed in my letter of resignation, I asked my guides, I need to know what is going to happen if I don't resign. And what is going to happen if I do? And that night, they showed me in a dream I'm driving a rickety old car that is struggling and I'm super stressed out. My mom is in a vehicle ahead of me and she's driving super slow and we have to get up this very steep hill. And my car does not have the power to get up this hill. So I'm stressed out. I'm, cursing and just so worried that my car isn't going to make it up this hill. And then the scene changes, and I'm in this big white luxury SUV. The seats are leather. It is smooth. It feels big. I feel safe in it. And I woke up that morning and I knew I needed to give my resignation letter. So being guided to quit, I felt, especially after that dream and that message, I felt very safe. I felt this is what needs to happen. I can't stay here where I am right now. And I felt really good about quitting. My first week after quitting my job, I dive into my new life and my new way of being. It came with its challenges. I have been silenced and made to doubt myself for so many years by so many different people. When it came to sitting in front of a camera and sharing what I knew, I was terrified. And I mean frozen in terror, terrified. Half of my work during that period and now to this day is inner work, breaking through these barriers and limitations that have been imposed on me by others. So I'm about a month into working on my new endeavor. I just hit a wall. I get so tired. This is the beginning of my very intense emotional purging phase. I'm going through periods of having spontaneous emotional purges, my heart feeling like a near empty tube of toothpaste that's being squeezed to get every little drop out. And then I would be completely exhausted during the purges, and there would be a period after them where I felt so empty in my mind that I couldn't even think of the knowledge that I had to share. And that part has been really hard. I'm such a go, go, go person. I'm someone who's always go, 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 create, 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 work, 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 work. Gotta survive, I'm gonna die if I stop. It's like spirit forced me to stop. And that has been so difficult for my ego to handle, and not having control of my ability to produce. But then I would have a day after a purge for a few days where I feel lighter, I'm productive. I would just continue to swing between these super lows and these, not even a high, is more like a level playing field. During these lows, I was facing thoughts about my identity. I'm not a dental hygienist anymore. Oh, I'm a health coach, but is that who I am? Why do we have to identify ourselves by our jobs? Why can't we just be who we are? And also saying, well, if I'm not these things, then what am I? Or who am I? Processing really deep emotions of throughout my life, I really struggled with feeling loved. I've been feeling that I've given so much love and care to others throughout my life, and realizing that I have received a tiny, tiny percentage of love that I've actually given out to others. In the past, I kind of swallowed that or wasn't aware of the pain. I told myself, oh, I have so much love in me that I love myself enough. Like, no one needs to love me. Obviously, they struggle with that, but it's coming up lately that that is really bothering me and has bothered me. I think with all the peeling of the layers, I'm getting at that's my core wound, is not feeling loved, not, putting so much love out and not really getting much in return. And through my purging phases, I've experienced a lot of physical purging too. It kind of started as night sweats, and then I got pimples all over my back, just little tiny red pimple bumps all over my back. And then it moved to my chest. I had them all over my chest. And then about a month ago, it moved to my solar plexus area. I had a breakout of these little red pimple bumps all right here. And then just a week ago, I had the bumps on the outside of my thighs and hips. And we actually have chakras below our root chakra. And that first chakra below the root chakra, which is associated with the thighs and hips, is responsible for fear, which has been a major theme for me throughout my life and this awakening. When you read about Kundalini awakening, they talk about spinal burning. When I was reading about that, they say it starts at the base of your spine and then it's like a lightning bolt to your brain. I have experienced the burning at the base of the spine. It happened to me when I was in the bathtub maybe a month ago. Yes, a month ago. It was an intense internal burning that I was kind of rubbing the area to relieve it. It did feel hot on the outside, and it was so intense that it was bringing tears to my eyes. It did not lightning bolt up my spine. As it was happening, I thought, this must be the Kundalini situation that I've read about. And it was after that burning that my solar plexus purged those little red bumps. My emotional and physical purging seems to be in a lull right now. A month ago, I had an experience where I was purging in the shower, emotional purging. And my guide said, this is your final purge. You won't have to do this anymore. It's going to be okay. And since then, I've shed some tears, but I haven't had those intense emotional purges like I was having them in the last 3 months of 2025. I have still been having intense night sweats. That is in a lull the past week too. Hopefully it stays that way. And I notice the purges also come when my ego is fighting my spirit. My spirit knows I need to go this way, but my ego is saying, no, 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 no. We can't do that. It's too scary. It's too risky. And that coincides every time I'm going to step out of my comfort zone, being visible, creating this podcast. I will have a little emotional breakdown because my ego is terrified, but my spirit and my guides are saying, go, do it. So I'll purge the fear. I'll feel lighter. And honestly, lately, I feel a lot better than I did a month ago. The fear I've purged. I'm learning to trust more. I'm more grounded in my energy. Ever since last August when I quit my job, I've been very ungrounded and very fear riddled. And that is melting away, thankfully. I feel I should be very fearful right now with things that are going on in my life. But that fear is really leaving me, and I hope it stays that way. So my awakening story and journey is still unfolding as I speak. Like I said, at the point where I'm at now, I'm learning to trust more. Fear is being purged from my body, mind, and spirit. I still have doubt that creeps in, and that's just part of who I am and part of my astrology. So I hope that made you feel a little less alone. If you are in these deep, dark stages and you're feeling really lost and hopeless, I love you. I know how you feel. I hope my story didn't seem too scrambled. This awakening has left me pretty scrambled. So I will see you later. I love you. Bye.